Hello, I'm Molly, and this is Care Experts, brought to you by CareCredit and Pets Best. Together, the CareCredit credit card and Pets Best pet health insurance provide all the financial tools that can help you be the best pet parent you can be. Today, we are talking all things cats and hairballs. And joining us to explain all things hairballs is Dr. Ayeley Okine from the Safe
Hello.
Veterinary Centers in San Francisco, California. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. How are you doing?
We're happy to have you. We're doing great,
Thank you.
and we're ready to break down some hairballs.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So, first, just tell us, what is a hairball?
So a hairball is actually a collection of hair. It's exactly what it sounds like. So cats, especially cats that have long fur as they're grooming, I'll kind of take a step back. If you've ever seen what a cat's tongue actually looks like, it's barbed. And as they're grooming, it sort of combs the fur, and any loose bits of fur they actually can ingest. That fur ends up with a collection of kind of mucus and other debris and saliva and stomach acid actually ends up in the stomach. And then it really has to go one of two ways. It either can pass through the intestines and end up in the stool, hopefully it doesn't cause a blockage, or a cat can actually vomit that back up and get rid of it that way.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, how do I know if my cat is trying to cough up a hairball versus trying to vomit, or how do I know that it's trying to cough up a hairball?
It can be really tough, honestly. So the kind of coughing up a hairball, truly it's vomiting. When we say coughing it up, it's really not coming from the lung or from the airway. It's actually coming from the stomach. So your cat is truly vomiting. The hard part is there are cats that overgroom and that vomit too much. And then there's cats that also cough where it can sound like they are about to vomit. So it really can vary quite a bit. The only way to really know is to find the end product. So actually find the hairball and see that their cat brought it up.
So, you mentioned that the licking of the fur and then the ingesting the hair, is that the main cause of a hairball?
It is. So that's the main cause of a hairball. Most cats aren't going to willingly eat hair, so it's usually from the active grooming. But again, there are cats that overgroom. So if they have pain somewhere in their abdomen and their joints, or just overall don't feel well, sometimes they'll groom excessively.
And it's healthy for my cat to have a hairball?
Occasionally, yes. So again, really with grooming and ingesting that hair, if they're grooming regularly but they don't have a lot of loose fur, they probably wouldn't bring up a hairball more than every couple of weeks, potentially, maybe even less than that. But it is natural for your cat to have a hairball.
Is it painful? Is it painful for my cats to have a hairball?
It's not painful. I would say it's probably not the most comfortable thing to go through. If you've ever vomited, as gross as that sounds to have to bring up, it's not a pleasant experience, but it doesn't typically hurt. And typically with these hairballs, they're so well coated with material like mucus, it comes up pretty quickly. So it's usually not painful, but it might be a little bit uncomfortable. It's not pleasant for your cat to go through, but it's a lot easier to come up that way than it is to potentially go the other way and get stuck.
If if a hairball is, maybe you have a cat that's over grooming, or is there any scenario in which a hairball could harm or kill a cat?
It's possible. So what some owners will do is actually give medications or supplements is probably the better term that helps to kind of lubricate the hairball to help facilitate it either coming up from the mouth or for it to pass through the intestine. So there are some products that you can use to kind of help lubricate it. I would only probably do those things if your pet has an issue with hairballs where it's taking longer to come up, or there's any sort of discomfort associated with it. But yes, there are situations, and especially in my practice where I'm doing a lot of ultrasounds for my own patients and for the emergency service, I found quite a bit of hairballs stuck in the intestine that are actually causing a blockage. So there is that chance that if a hairball gets big enough and it doesn't come up from the mouth through the act of vomiting, that it could potentially get stuck in the intestines and be life-threatening. So that would be a scenario where I would expect that cat would have abdominal pain, be hunched, be vomiting, not have any interest in food, not have any interest in engaging with the owner or the family. So if your cat is really sick, vomiting, not producing much stool because not much is going to get by this thing, that would be a scenario where I would get your cat to a vet right away. And if your vet's not open, then an emergency service.
That would be very scary. And is
Yeah.
that also a scenario in which, when would be the point where a hairball would have to be removed from the cat? And if so, how would that be done?
So typically, if it's stuck in the intestines, unfortunately, the only way of getting it out would be a surgery. So if it's causing a blockage, and we often can see that on an X-ray and ultrasound, where there's some foreign material, some material that doesn't look like it's food in the intestines, and then dilation, so lots of fluid behind it. That would be a scenario where surgery would be our only option to really save your pet. If the hairball is in the stomach, so I've had some situations where a hairball actually gets so big that the pet is vomiting. It's not stuck in the intestine, but the pet is vomiting because that hairball has gotten large enough that it's irritating the stomach and they can't bring it back up. That's where the endoscopy comes in. And again, that's one of my favorite things to do, but we can actually, under general anesthesia, use our camera to go in through the mouth into the stomach and retrieve that hairball with some tools.
Wow, that's amazing. So if you see something wrong or feel like your cat ate something, the sooner you can get them to the vet, the better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And at the very least, even if there's nothing stuck, being nauseous, vomiting, not feeling good, also not comfortable for your cat. So getting your cat to the vet where we can provide some supportive treatments to get your cat feeling better, I think that's always the best policy. Might as well head something off before it becomes major and they have to be actually hospitalized.
Absolutely. So is there any kind of diet, like does wet food help to, prevent hairballs getting stuck, or does any kind of diet help with hairballs?
There are some hairball diets. I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure of the efficacy of them. I see so many cats on so many different diets that still get hairballs. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing that's going to prevent 100% of hairballs. Otherwise, there'd be one treatment. Canned food, probably not. I think between canned food and kibble, neither probably really does a whole lot to help mitigate hairballs or to help resolve hairballs. Really, I think the things that are best, if you can groom your cat, so if you have a long-haired cat and you know that it's prone to hairballs, actually grooming it, kind of from a kitten, brushing your cat out once a week or once every couple of weeks to really help remove some of that loose fur is going to be important.
And is there any other, in addition to diet, home remedies, medications, anything you would recommend that could assist with hairballs?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different supplements like Laxatone, and there's different hairball products. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but they're more of a kind of petroleum or mineral oil based gels that have flavoring. So usually the cats want to eat it. And then as it kind of passes down into the stomach, it helps to lubricate everything to make passage of the hairballs a lot easier. So that's probably the best thing to do, especially if you know that your cat is prone to hairballs. There are those supplements, and you can actually go on, websites, pet product websites, or again, talk to your vet about those products.
Thank you. And Dr. Ayeley Okine, thank you so much for breaking down in a professional way all things hairballs. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
More episodes of Care Experts can be found at carecredit.com/careexperts. All of our featured Care Experts recommend and accept the CareCredit credit card, which is accepted at hundreds of thousands of provider locations nationwide. For more information on how Pets Best Pet Insurance can cover up to 90% of your pet's unexpected eligible veterinary expenses, visit petsbest.com. Or for more information on the CareCredit credit card, go to carecredit.com.
Thanks for joining us on Care Experts with CareCredit. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share with friends and family. And stay tuned for new episodes every week. All information, opinions, and recommendations discussed in this episode are for your information only. We believe the information sources are generally reliable, but because of possible human or mechanical error by the sources, Synchrony or its affiliates, including CareCredit, does not provide warranty to the accuracy, quality, or completeness of the information or any results obtained from it. Any statement or opinions in this episode are the doctor's alone, and included data was current to the time of creating this episode. Please consult your own advisors before using any of this information. Pet insurance coverage offered and administered by Pets Best Insurance Services, LLC, is underwritten by American Pet Insurance Company, a New York insurance company headquartered at 6100 4th Avenue South, Suite 200, Seattle, Washington, 98108, or Independence American Insurance Company, a Delaware insurance company located at 11333 North Scottsdale Road, Suite 160, Scottsdale, Arizona, 85254. Pets Best Insurance Services, LLC, California agency number 0F37530, is a licensed insurance agency located at 10840 Ballantyne Commons Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina 28277. Each insurer has sole financial responsibility for its own products. Please refer to your declarations page to determine the underwriter for your policy. Terms and conditions apply. See your policy for details.